Hey there, welcome back to Tennille Talks. Y'all, I'm recording this message outside. I've missed you. I'm doing well. This message does come after a long pause of silence and separation. If I had to define the periods of time where I am silent, I would say it's either out of ignorance or obedience. When I say it's out of ignorance, sometimes I don't know things. Sometimes I don't know that I don't know things. And I'm in some type of unknown territory that I'm moving through and I'm not getting understanding, or I'm not getting clarity, or it's hard to discern. And in those phases or moments, I'm learning that doing nothing can sometimes be doing everything. The next part is obedience. Sometimes I'm silent, or I step away, or I separate because I've been guided to spiritually pause, to surrender, to restore, or to rest and recover. So normally it falls into one of those two categories. I'm silent because I know I need to be, or I don't know what's going on and I just need to be in order to figure out what's going on. I've already done a pre-read for this reading. If I had to give this reading a name, I would call it They All Drank That Silly Shit. So I'm going to break the reading down. The first message I get is that someone was enlightened or notified about your destiny, your cosmic handprint. Somebody learned something about your cosmic handprint, and all of a sudden they desired or they were inspired to take action. Now, when I get to cosmic handprint, I started to think about Halo. So right now on Netflix, I am actively watching a series called Halo. But my first encounter with Halo, it was during my college era. I hung out with somebody who played Xbox. The game they played was the Halo game. And I hope I remember this right, but the main character, like player one in Halo, is Commander Chief. When I'm talking about your cosmic handprint, I'm saying that when you hold your hand up to life, or when you hold your hand up to reality, when people look at you, they would almost say that life bends to your will. Almost like with you, reality looks malleable. You literally look like you have the ability to change reality just by putting your hand up, just by willing it into existence, just by setting the intention, and things just do whatever it is you want them to do. That is how people would describe you. But even if they couldn't or wouldn't be willing to describe you this way, when I'm saying that somebody was notified or enlightened, either somebody read your physical mail, like somebody read something personal or physical of yours, and they learned that this is truly your destiny or your calling, or somebody read your cosmic mail, your spiritual mail, like somebody was able to read your Akashic records and understand the calling that is imprinted on your soul. And the calling is so big. So somebody reads something so big and it inspires them to take an action. But the problem is that when they take an action, it is equivalent to rolling a dice. When you roll a dice, normally there is one number that you want to see more than all the others. But dice, or the game of dice, it's about risk, right? You're willing to risk crossing paths with all of those 5 numbers you don't want to see, because if you get the reward of the number that you really want to see, it outweighs the risk. But there's always the possibility that you don't get what you want. There's a group of people who learn something about you. It makes them take some type of action. There was always a risk. When I'm saying that people acted and every action included a risk, I'm saying that there are certain things that you do where a consequence is absolutely guaranteed. You don't even have to question if it's going to backfire. You don't even have to question about the return to sender. Some shit you do is just going to come back because it's going to come back. Okay? Now, whoever was involved learned what they learned about you, and they agreed to take a risk or to roll a dice, even knowing that any of those other 5 consequences or any of those other 5 options was on the table, they still bet it all in order to get that one number, in order to get that one outcome. Now, my tarot cards, the 4 tarot cards, are the 10 of Cups, followed by the Page of Swords, the Page of Wands, and the Page of Cups. Imagine a whole bunch of people go into a meeting. When everybody walks into the meeting, they are who they are. When everybody leaves the meeting, everybody is looking like a teenager. Everybody is looking younger. So I thought it was so weird that the tarot card starts with the 10 of Cups. But when that group, when those 10 people, y'all, for some of y'all, this is actually family who was inspired to take certain risks and calculated actions, even though they had consequences that they could possibly face. It was all worth it to them to move against you once they learned something about the greatness of your destiny or your cosmic handprint, right? So everybody drank something, and all of a sudden everybody feels youthful. They feel young again. I don't know if this is a literal drink, like literally some cult shit. Like somebody had to drop something in their own spirit in order to be initiated into something. And if it wasn't a literal or a physical drink, this is like, you know how they say don't go looking for trouble because you just might find it? Imagine going through somebody's phone or honestly reading somebody's mail and you already felt some kind of way about this person, right? Whether it was hatred or disdain or jealousy or envy or apathy, like however you felt about that person, you already had an ick in your spirit about them. But then you double down on what you were already feeling about them and you go looking for something and now you feel even more shitty about who you are, because you didn't realize something about who they are. You know what I'm saying? Like there's something about everybody who drank something felt a certain kind of way about you, so it made them a cult, it made them a coven, or it just made them a family even if they weren't related. They carried something in their spirit about you that united them, it related them to one another, okay? Now, next part of the reading says, the Page of Swords. So I said when everybody left the reading, everybody was walking around like a teenager. Y'all, I could be talking about big grown people with very grown age. But just because your body chronologically is aging and getting older, it doesn't mean that you are aging or growing or developing in wisdom. It doesn't mean that you are developing or growing in emotion or understanding, or it doesn't mean that you are really learning how to protect the longevity of your physical body. Just because you're getting older, it doesn't mean that anything else is really getting older. Sometimes people can live the same day for 30, 50, 60, 70 years. Sometimes it's just the same day lived again and again. So when everybody went to the meeting, but then they all left as a teenager, I'm talking about like a child. Listen, if it wasn't literal young people or youth who were used as a part of this is a bunch of old ass bodies that have never matured in their own spirit, knowledge, wisdom, or understanding. And something about knowing details of your own destiny, it almost made them forever relate to you in a childlike fashion. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like they felt entitled to be less than or entitled to be little because maybe they knew how big you were. So they felt like the risk was always going to be worth it because if they could kind of take down the Goliath thing, but you were only Goliath because of their immaturity to handle the gravity and the magnitude of your destiny, right? Like it just wasn't information that they were big enough to carry, but they tried to carry it anyway and then got mad when it was too heavy, got mad when they couldn't carry it, and then wanted to attack you for their inability to carry it. But it's like it wasn't yours anyway. Why'd you pick it up? Like that kind of information. And picking it up is literally taking a risk to go against or to take some kind of action to oppose the truth of who you are. All right. The next part says, they thought that they could get you to drink something in a cup that they were offering. Now, when I say drink something, for some of you, absolutely physically, literally trying to get you to ingest something that they were offering. For everybody, it is not physically drinking anything. I'm talking about, when we're talking about drinking something, I'm talking about your emotion. This is about, I got in my feelings, or when I'm around you, listen, you put people in their feelings without even trying to. You don't have to open your mouth. You don't have to say anything. Something about your presence, people just get in their feelings. It's about it, but it's on your soul. Like you can't hide it. It's a presence. It's a truth. It's something. It's the size of you that can never be hidden, even if you don't say a word. You can act as small as you want to act, but something about you is so big that people automatically get in their feelings. And so when I say that somebody thought that they could get you to drink something, meaning the same shit that they drank that made them be foolish or silly enough to take action against you, they almost thought that they could get you to have that same type of feeling. Like, I don't want to feel what I feel when I'm around you, and I'm only going to feel better about how I feel in your presence is if I see you feel that way too. Now, I'm really talking about an emotion. This is about somebody or people who wanted to corrupt your emotions because they felt corrupted in their own emotions when they were in their presence. Now, this reading literally says, if you drink whatever these people, so here's the thing. When they roll the dice, when they take the action, the number that they really want it to land on is going to end with you drinking something. If you drink something, then your emotional body is corrupted. It is poisoned. What are they wanting you to feel in your emotional body after you drink this drink? Heartache. This is about people who took a risk because they felt like, yo, the consequences are worth it. As long as I get to see you experience grief, as long as they get to see you go through emotional struggle and sadness and despair. This is about people who wanted to see you visibly display the fact that you were downhearted. This is about being fearful. This is about a level of fear that comes from the heart. This is about a heart that can never experience joy because the sorrow is so great. This is about you having y'all listen. These are people who want you to live in sorrow because they feel like it is a price, like that is the only way to pay the price for how they feel when they are around you. Do you understand? Some people are so broken or aching in their own heart when they are in their presence. And the reality is that it's really a moment for them to do the reflection and to heal their own wounds. But not everybody wants to heal their wounds. And so the only way I can feel better about my own heartache and grief and sorrow and pain is if I see you display grief and heartache and sorrow and pain in your own life. And so when these people learn something about you, and it reminds them about how far off they are from who they want to be or what they are or whatever, right? It's like you dwarf them, but you dwarf them to themselves about themselves. And so now they want you to drink something in order to corrupt your heart so that it's just as corrupt as theirs. And so what are you supposed to be drinking? What was the risk? What was the dice? This reading says that they summoned or they called upon a karmic masculine. Y'all, this does not have to be a man. This does not have to be a boy or anybody in masculine energy. I'm talking about them recognizing that the only thing in their mind that could trump you was karmic masculinity. When we're thinking about the energy of masculinity, we're talking about dominance, control. We're talking about somebody who's ambitious, a leader, but somebody who's just, who's balanced, and who's fair. But when you are talking about a karmic masculine, this is about somebody who dominates and somebody who rules by any means necessary, meaning whatever I got to do to have power, I'm going to do it. So this is the type of energy that they call on when they learn something about you. They roll a dice, okay? I feel like a group of people recruited somebody to take you down. And because they're so fucking karmic, they just call the most karmic person they know, which can be a man or a woman, but the trait, the character trait that they most needed in their own mind, they were looking after, or they were looking for the most toxic version of karmic masculinity that they knew. That is the person that would be willing to take you down or take you out per their own plan. When we roll this dice, we use this person. When we use this person, they're going to give us this number. Now, there's 5 other possibilities that could take place, but it don't matter. It's worth the risk. And at the end of the day, this is about seeing you live out heartbreak, because that is what they feel when they are immersed in your energy, not recognizing that it is in the healing. Like you bring a healing. They're only feeling the pain because healing is the true opportunity that's on the table when they're in your energy. But not everybody wants to or is ready to heal. And so some people literally feel offended by your presence. And then they learn something about you and then just double down on the stupidity. Okay. Now, right now, present day, I feel like the energy of the plan or the plot, the recruiting some type of person. Now, my handmade card that I got, so it says, listen, a group of people learned something about you. And then they all felt some kind of way and they acted like children. Whether they were children or not, everybody became a page. So they weren't working with true wisdom. They weren't working with they didn't know how to apply the things that they were doing. Everybody was an apprentice, a student. Whether they knew it or not, they actually all signed up for your class. It was in that moment that they learned something, that they actually enrolled in your class and you would have been the teacher. They had no idea they enrolled. They actually went to somebody else to teach them how to take you down. And the reality is that that person just needed to be in your class too. So there's some type of karmic masculine that either everybody went to in order to come against you, or a karmic masculine went to a group of people in order to use a group of people in a very page-like kind of way in order to get information, in order to accomplish certain petty tasks or annoyances, or to collect messages or to send messages, something about that type of energy. But at the end of it, this is about getting you to drink a cup of heartache. All of this was supposed to get you to be drinking heartache and grief and sorrow and pain. It was all worth it. Whatever they had to go through, it was worth it, because they could see you end up in this way. Now, the karmic masculine was supposed to dominate. They were supposed to influence and manipulate your gift. You have a gift. Anybody that has a cosmic handprint, anybody that can manipulate or bend or alter reality, anybody that can operate or move in this commander chief type of status in this physical world, you have a gift. And not everybody likes to see you use this gift. And so some people are willing to do a lot of things, especially in great numbers, in order to get you to almost deactivate the magic that you carry in your own hands. But in order to get them to do this, they had to drink something first. When I say drink something, I feel like in order for them to think they could corrupt your spirit, their spirit first had to be corrupted. You know what I mean? Like the worst thing that was done to them is exactly what they try to do to you, not recognizing that they really want to hear the corruption of their own spirit. Like what you really want to do, anybody that tries to corrupt your spirit or break your heart is really screaming and crying out that they want to heal and fix their own corrupted and broken heart. Like the way they attack you is actually the message or the route that they have to take in order to access their own healing. But they don't know that. Right? And so the attack or the way they attack, especially if everybody is moving like a page, they are also revealing their level of apprenticeship or their lack of knowledge or their lack of wisdom without even knowing that the commander-in-chief is reading and recognizing. Y'all, so right now, the greater message is that there is an ending, there is a death, there is a clear stop, there is a clear pause or halt. There was something that was expected, there was something that was supposed to occur. Whether was it a marriage, was it a contract, there was a union. You know, the card that comes out is the marriage card, but we're talking about a contract. All of this was supposed to lead to a contract, a binding There was some, but when I say that there is a clear ending, when there is a clear separation at this season, when everybody is looking where the dice landed, they're recognizing that it landed on one of the numbers where the contract wasn't fulfilled, where the marriage never came together, where the union ceased to ever even happen or form. Like it landed on one of the numbers that nobody wanted it to land on. But this was also the risk. This is also like a part of the consequence that everybody just kind of either overlooked or didn't consider. But you cannot show up to somebody that has a cosmic handprint like a commander-in-chief and the energy of pages and think that something actually is going to form, right? Like these are people, y'all. And again, these can be older people. Just because your body is physically, chronologically aging and getting older every year, it does not mean that your mind is developing and growing. It does not mean that emotionally you are healing wounds and going the depths of your own soul in order to find all the dark crevices that you possibly can. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes your body is just getting older and you're living the same day year after year, again and again. You're not necessarily applying yourself any differently to day to day. And so this could be young people or this could be old people that are just young in mentality, young in spirit, young in emotion. They are young, meaning I am immature even at my big grown old age. Y'all, so whoever the 10 of Cups is, I think it is just so significant that 3 out of the 4 pages have come out. The only page that didn't come out is the Page of Pentacles. And y'all know the Pentacles is the suit that takes the longest to get through because it is a physical representation of what first had to happen in the spirit. After it happens in the spirit, it's got to happen in the emotion. After it happens in the emotion, it's got to make it to the mind. After it's in the mind, then it can be manifested in the physical. So the only page that didn't show itself is the page that would have said, listen, time was required here. Nobody was even willing to put in time. This is about quick action, quick spirit, meaning these are people who moved quick and impulsive in their own spirit. They moved with little wisdom, with little knowledge. And the energy of the Page of Cups, this is about them thinking that they could drink you. They could get you to drink from a cup. Think about the image of the Page of Cups in tarot. It is literally somebody who's almost holding or extending a cup out. Sometimes we say it's the apology card. But this is about, somebody who's hopeful or they're wishing. And maybe this is like that pig's fly energy. This is about believing the impossible. This reveals the immaturity of their own dreams. This was always going to be an impossible task. To think that they could corrupt your own waters. To think that they could get you to drink from a cup that they drank from that corrupted them. It's like we can corrupt them. We can change it. If this is who they are, we're big enough. We're greater. This is about people who wanted to be big enough, even if they all had to move in a group. They still thought that the size of the group was an indication that they could almost rewrite the instructions that your soul has already said you were supposed to live out in this existence. These are people who try to rewrite it, but they can't write, right? They're the energy of a page. Y'all, they all drank that silly shit. I think that's what I get in this reading. Now, here's another thing. The person that was employed, they're looking for a certain type of karmic masculinity in order to write. So the next message that I get, in order to break that down, okay, this is almost like another thing about the twin flame. So oftentimes we hear about whatever, when I say twin flame to you, whatever that means to you. But obviously everybody has an opinion or a belief about who that person is when they manifest in your own life. This is about your destiny coming with a specific package. This is what I did not say to you. So one of the things that is true Think about when you sign up or you buy a ticket to experience a resort or some type of vacation. You know, there are packages. Not every vacation package is equal. Some of them, maybe the room is in a certain place. Some of them have different amenities. Some of them have meals included. So think about your soul being a package. This package represents the type of experience that you will have on earth. If you have the soul where you have a cosmic handprint, you have a commander chief type of soul, this means that your soul comes with exclusives. It comes with amenities. One thing that is true about your soul is that it can overcome the energy of death. So when the karmic masculine is sought after, or when they start to summon a specific energy to come against you in order to corrupt your waters, they are trying to, y'all, your soul has the ability to rejuvenate. If you have a commander-in-chief soul, this says that you have to be able to self-heal. Something about your soul makes people want to kill you. And if they're not physically killing you, this is about sending you the energy of death because they're tired of watching you resurrect life again and again and again. Like they're only happy when you move through, when you're not able to use your heart to manifest and create. This is about people who want you to be corrupted and corroded with death energy. But because you are the commander-in-chief, your soul comes with like a spa package, meaning your soul has the ability to retreat to some type of oasis where you can rejuvenate, meaning you can clean your soul. You can clean off the energy of death again and again and again. That is the ability that you have. And so yes, they can hire in contract whoever to corrupt the waters or the nature of your emotional body in order to put you in grief and sorrow and heartbreak. They can hire and contract whoever, but the nature and the contents of your soul are self-healing. They are rejuvenating. You always know how to access your oasis. You understand? Like you can go to a retreat inside of yourself. Y'all, this reading, and I don't know if it's this one or the next one. I think it's the next one. But anyway, it says that essentially when you are in stillness, you are in self-cleaning mode. You are in self-healing mode. And so, yes, there is death energy that'll come. There is death energy that'll be sent. And it's really about the death to the heart, the energy of your own heart. Your heart is your magnet. This is about shutting off and shutting out anything that can flow into or out of your greatest magnet. Right? You got a cosmic handprint and it responds to your heart. But if your heart is broken and if you're covered in grief and sorrow and sadness and pain, then your own energy is distorted and the universe won't respond to you. You're no longer moving and operating and manifesting and creating like the commander-in-chief, right? Anyway, y'all, you have a different mode. It doesn't matter what happens to you, what is sent towards you. You can always get it off, even the energy of death. That is a package that comes with your soul. It is exclusive. Everybody doesn't have that add-on. Everybody doesn't have that amenity, but you sure fucking do. And you have it because of the nature of your soul. Right? Anybody like you that has this type of calling also has a spa package attached to the whatever the membership their soul has classified them in. Everybody that is a commander-in-chief, aka a chosen type of mission, where you know you got to carry something great, so great that people would want to come with you or come against you in the energy of death. You got to have some type of self-healing mechanism. So they will come, but you can heal it. They will come, but you can cure yourself from it. Okay? Nonetheless, there is an ending of a contract, meaning whatever the hit was that was put out by way of this karmic masculinity coming against you in whatever way it was meant to give you, meaning, listen, there are a lot of ways people are going to want to drink you from a cup called heartbreak. Right? It doesn't have to just happen with one person. Disappointment and grief and sorrow, it can be presented to you in a lot of ways. They just want you to drink from it again and again. And when you drink from it, you yourself need to be in the energy of the Page of Cups. This is about wanting you to always be wishful and hopeful that when I drink from a cup, nobody's trying to poison me, right? So I almost feel like there's something about you that is childlike in nature. And sometimes maybe people play on that, thinking that they can get you to consume and digest and integrate anything. And you have this thing about you where you don't even recognize that poison is poison. And it's not about you not recognizing that something is poisonous, but again, you have a self-healing mode. So is anything really poison if you can heal? You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you will ingest something sick. Sometimes you will relate to sick people, sick places, and sick things. But it's only a sickness until you finish healing. It's only a sickness until you finish meeting the needs of the wound. And so it's not, I think sometimes there's a misconception and a misunderstanding that is attached to the innocence and the purity that you carry. Y'all, the final part, this is what I got. This is called, whenever the person is pulled in, whenever the person is contracted, the toxic masculinity or the karmic masculine energy. This is about binding you to some type of contract of karmic masculinity, of heartbreak, sorrow, grief, pain. When that person is called in, they are trying to occupy the space of the twin flame. Whatever you feel or define a twin flame to be, when somebody steps into your life in order to fulfill that position, whether they do it justice or they don't do it justice, it doesn't matter. This is about holding a space so that something pure is not able to hold that space, right? So even if I'm toxic, it doesn't matter, right? This is like, I want to bind or contract myself to you, even if I'm dishonest, even if I say I'm monogamous and I'm not, right? Even if I say that I'm healthy, but I know that I really carry these impurities. This is about wanting to hold the space of something sacred, even though their only intention is to bring some type of infestation or impurity. So when I call this person occupation twin flame, this is almost like wanting you to think that they hold a greater position in your life than they really do, and in reality they don't. Now, it doesn't have to manifest as some type of romantic counterpart. This can be anybody that you would give some type of sacred or anointed pedestal in your life for whatever reason. But these are like those type of people who play positions that are really close to your heart. You need people that are close to your heart. Because those are typically going to be the people, which is why we get the 10 of Cups. Those are going to be the people that have access to cause the sorrow, the grief, and the heartache. It's got to be people who are already close to it. So this could be a literal spouse, a partner, somebody you're married to, somebody you are in union with. If it's not that, it is people who are close to you, who wanted to contract somebody in order for that person to mimic the role or the position of twin flame. They wanted to literally hire a twin flame for you. But this person was false. They were always going to be false, but they wanted them to get close enough to your heart in order to break it. That is what this reading is saying. It doesn't have to be 10 of Cups family that did this, but it was people who were united because of something they carried in their spirit after knowing or learning a truth about you. Y'all. Okay, hold on. Okay, so yeah, I already said this. You carry an ability that allows you to revitalize your body, mind, and spirit from death. So even when they're sending death to your body, death to your spirit, death to your mind, you have the ability to revitalize, to restore, to bring life to what somebody is attempting to bring death to. You can bring it life, okay? That is an entire mechanism of function and amenity and a package that comes with the membership of your soul. The next reading says, or the next part of the reading says, is that whenever you are restored, whenever you are brought back to a space of balance, meaning when you get rid of the death energy, when you get all of the yuck and the muck off of your body, mind, spirit, and soul, it is in that moment that you can walk the golden path. This reading says that when you walk the golden path, that path is always going to be moving in the direction towards the divine. That is your soul's calling. But if you're really dirty, or if you're sad, or if you're grieving, if you're in pain, and if you're sorrow, because the heartache is overwhelming, your heart isn't always, it's like they want to corrupt your heart sound so that it's hard for you to walk your soul's. Listen, if you're in pain, you just want to make the pain stop. And it's hard for you to focus and to pay attention on your divine mission if you're always having to heal, which is why you have your own self-healing mechanism. And so when you are done your healing process, when you are rejuvenating, you have the ability to follow your own intuition. Your intuition is attached to a higher purpose. The higher purpose is in alignment with your soul's calling. That is your golden path. When you are not on the golden path, when you are off somewhere trying to self-heal, trying to kind of get rid of the impurities, my handmade card says, the distance you kept during my struggle, I'm going to need you to double it during my success. And so where there are a lot of people who only wanted to be in contracts with you when you were struggling, and when you're on your divine path, the same people who loved you during your heartache, who loved you during your struggle, they are not going to be able to bear to see you what it looks like when you walk this golden path. And the same people who never wanted you to walk this path are the same people who like to contract experiences that leave you in heartbreak or some type of sorrow. Here's the next thing, y'all. The reason why it's so important for you to experience heartache, the reason why it is so important for you to have a broken heart, is because of how powerful you are. When your heart is broken, it changes the nature of how you make your own decisions. Here's the thing. You either are going to let your decisions come from a place of peace, or your decisions are coming from a place of reaction. The people that want to corrupt the nature of your heart, the people who love to see you in pain, these are people who are in pain. And because they're in pain, every decision they make is in response to them wanting to end their own pain. And so if I have to put you in pain, it doesn't matter. My pain is so loud that I am willing to put you in pain because mine is so great. And so the silly decisions that I'm making, when I talk about they all drank the same Kool-Aid, they all had a sick heart. They all had a broken heart. Their water, their emotional body was already corrupted. And because their pain was so loud, they made a decision in response to their pain. And listen, they caused you pain. What do people do to you? What do people want to see you experience? The very thing that they are experiencing. That is going to be the method and the depth of their magic, of the reality and the schemes and the attacks. When they take these risks and roll these dice and whatever, it is only because they just want to trade places. They want the pain that they walk through on a daily basis to belong to you. And so however they have to get it to you, they are willing to get it to you, because just seeing you walk through pain was worth the risk. It was worth the gamble. Y'all, there was one more thing I was supposed to tell you. Okay. Yeah. So it was almost like hiring somebody to be the twin flame. But the greater message was that this is a cycle. So everything expires, even contracts, even plans, everything expires, right? And so something about this plan, this contract, this union, something has reached its point of expiration. Right? Something has reached its point of expiration. And the reason why it has expired is because the condition of your heart has yet to be corrupted. Why is it corrupted? Because when you make your decisions from a place of peace, which means every decision is going to bring you more peace. When people are trying to break your heart, it's because they want your decisions to be based in pain, because then you will just do the magic for them, because you'll keep reacting and responding to the pain, and then every decision that you make after that is going to be in response to the pain, which means you're going to be calling in the pain. Your heart is your greatest magnet. If I break your heart, I can break your life. If I break your heart, I can, right? This is about literally hacking your heart. And so whoever I got to put in place to hack your heart, I'm willing to take that risk or take that gamble. These are people who have had their own heart hacked. Okay? So you don't respond from pain. So that's why this doesn't work. This is why you have the power you have. This is why you were trusted with this type of calling on your soul. This is why you have a life that is supposed to be on a golden path, and those that are some people are just supposed to be a spectator, but they don't want to be a spectator. And so they try to get involved only to learn that they weren't even big enough to cause a ripple effect in your destiny, because it just is what it is. No matter how you feel about it, it is what it is. But some people are too immature to understand that some things just are what they are. You can't change them. You can't manipulate them. You can't influence them, even if you set it up perfectly. But if everybody in this reading was a damn page, this was always a very juvenile plan. Okay? Yes. So you don't react. Before you make a decision, you always come from a place of peace. Why? Because it brings you in more peace, because it's your jump off. It's your foundation. Peace is always your starting point. And the people that are moving against you, their starting point is pain. And so even if they're trying to bring you all the pain in the world, it is only being brought back to themselves again and again, because they are using their heart, their magnet, but they're using it from, y'all, you get it. I don't want to beat a dead horse. Y'all, the next message I got, though, which is really important, remember how I started the reading by saying that somebody was enlightened, or somebody learned, somebody had knowledge about something, right? But you also don't want to go looking for trouble, because you just might find it. My handmade card says, do not be arrogant because of your knowledge. There is no craftsman who has acquired full mastery. So whatever somebody learned about you, and I think it was the fact that you carry this rejuvenation, this gift of rejuvenating, the fact that you can clean the energy of death. So I don't know if somebody wanted to give you their broken heart and trade you out for and I don't know if it's like they wanted to break your heart because somehow they felt like it would heal their own. But this is like somebody knowing something about you and becoming so arrogant that they knew something about you that they didn't tell you, or you didn't tell them, or you know what I'm saying? It's like however they got this information, it almost made them feel like they were a master, but they just knew something about the master. It didn't make them the master. This is what I mean about everybody drinking the silly shit. Knowing something about the master, or knowing who the master is and not saying it, or the master not knowing, it doesn't change the position. It doesn't automatically qualify you to play in a different role. No, you are still who you are. You know what I'm saying? That's what this card is saying. They were always a craftsman. But because they were enlightened or had knowledge, all of a sudden they felt like they themselves had acquired full mastery. But it wasn't about them. They only knew something about you. It was your knowledge. It was your wisdom. It just happened to be in somebody's hands that wasn't big enough to carry it. And you know they weren't big enough to carry it because of how small the plan was that they created. It amounted to nothing. Right now, this reading is saying, this contract is over. Like nobody is confused that the plan didn't work. Everybody knows it didn't work. At this point, it's clear. It's over. That's what this reading is saying, y'all. So whoever drank the silly shit, whoever was in that initial meeting, the 10 of Cups, the group, whoever was in that initial thing, y'all, this could have been a long time coming. You know, everybody doesn't wake up or acknowledge or accept truth at the same time. But this reading is like, okay, finally, the 10th person has finally gotten the message that this was always a dumb idea. It's like, finally, everybody has got it. That's the energy that I get in this reading. And so this is it was always over before it even started. But this reading is only marking a true ending because the final person has finally got on board with the stupidity of this plan. And so as I know, I'm going to call this, they all drank that silly shit. I love y'all so much. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.